Toucan Mall in Amelia's Ward, Linden. It's the mall that has it all. We have great food, a relaxing atmosphere, and activities for all ages: tennis, swimming, and a playground. But the fun doesn't stop after dark. There's even a bar and an arcade. And if you aren't ready to go home yet, we've even got a spacious room for your comfort, complete with air conditioning, Wi Fi, and a private bathroom. The Toucan Mall can also facilitate your event in our spacious conference hall. We also have a theater with films for the entire family. It's the Toucan Mall located in Amelia's Ward, Linden.
All right, a very good evening to you, my friends, family well wishers. We're sorry about the very late start. However, we had some traffic situations that delayed me getting to my place where I can have the program done. So I'm sorry about that. I know some of you may have turned and tuned into other things, but you can call your friends and buddies and tune back into things because there's some things that I wanted to share that had to do with issues regarding families and school is preparing to reopen, and I wanted to share a few things about what to do about the children's lunch boxes and preparing them to go back to school and all that because it was the longest break in the year is just about to come to an end, and I know children are probably still in the mode where books are not very important, but you've got to start preparing them for re-entry into the classroom. And my suggestion to you, number one, is to first of all you cleanse their system. Okay, you cleanse your system because uh, they've been consuming a lot of things that probably you know made them toxic, and they are preparing to go into an environment again where there are many others who might be toxic or who might be having conditions that they're not aware of. And if you're not very, if your system is weakened, if your immune system is not up to par, then you can become a victim of some condition. Um, Bearing that, I want to mention that I've always said it, and I'm going to say it again. The coronavirus never really left us. It still is very prevalent. As a matter of fact, only today in the US, they were talking about the large increases of cases, uh, which have not been expected according to them. And hospitals are filling again to how it used to be. But getting back to the children, you must understand that it is not just about the coronavirus. It's about bacteria, it's about viruses, it's about other things that can affect children and even the adults, because the children can transmit conditions to the adults can transmit to the children. So one of the things that you need to do with your children, even with yourselves as teachers also, is to detoxify your system, try to remove as much toxic matters as possible, and then system. You don't want to build on top of things that need to be excreted. So you want to excrete the waste, kill some parasites, remove some bacteria, and then begin to build your immune system. This can all happen in a week. A weekend of cleansing, and then you start building yourself again and build your children. Because when they get out there in the classroom, and even on the way to class, depending on how they're going, they could um, be affected by some virus or bacteria if their system is not strong enough. I'm also suggesting that in the midst of persons who are unfamiliar to you or the children, that you begin and continue to wear your mask. I've always said to continue wearing your mask because persons are having conditions that they're not aware of. and are transmitting unknowingly. Okay, so you want to get your children to start including in their lunch kits and in their attires mask, and teach them how important it is, because it's not easy out there. I'm telling you, it's not easy. And we never stopped seeing coronavirus. We always kept seeing coronavirus. We kept seeing streptococcus bacteria. We kept seeing the parasites. We kept seeing the adenoviruses and other viruses, and they never really went away. And they are going to be around. It's not just to protect you from coronavirus, even though it will slow your body's ability of contracting it down by wearing it. And wearing the mask properly is very important, because some of you wear your mask under your nose. You put the mask on and all it's doing is covering your mouth. That is not the proper way of wearing a mask. When you wear the mask, you have to be under your nose, because that is the most part. You will pick it up through your nostrils. Okay, whatever you pick up most times is through your nostrils, into your bronchioles, and then it hibernates there 3 days, and the next thing you know, you start having problems. We also have a dengue situation out here, okay, which means that you need to also protect yourselves from mosquitoes, right? Because not only dengue, um, malaria is always a threat in our country because of our climate and temperature. So you need to you need to be conscious of these little pests, I call them pests, that can create big problems. Okay, if you're having symptoms like fever, maybe a chill in your body, maybe a little bit of might be a little coughing or so, congestion, loss of appetite, you want to start thinking that some sort of virus is trying to attack your body or has attacked your body, and you need to get your antioxidants, right? Another part of a very important factor that you need to include in the daily regimen of the children's diet, including yours, is some vitamin C and some D3. You want to take that every single day, D3 and vitamin C, because if you don't, then what are you taking to enhance your immune system? You're not going to get it in the foods that we're eating, because we know that the foods are compromised with with a lot of chemicals, and they continue to spray chemicals on the produce, and they continue to use chemicals in the farming process. So you're not going to get uh, your nutrition pretty much from the things that you're eating, right? So you want to make sure that you supplement. Okay, you supplement by using your vitamin C, your D3, even maybe lysine, and you want to get your children on a daily dose of a complete vitamin mineral complex, right? If you have difficulties locating these things, you can check us at the clinic. We normally have them there, and the clinic will reopen on the 5th of September, right? That's the week school opens. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little late, but better late than never. Um, if you can't find the natural sources, then you can check with us there when the clinic opens or reopens again. Okay, but I'm cautioning you, my friends. Don't take anything for granted. Build your defense. Put up your guards so that you can be protected from the onslaught of viruses and bacteria and other things. Okay. The other thing that you want to do, which I talk about all the time with your homes, is try to ensure that you can somehow screen the windows and screen the opening so that mosquitoes will not be a part of your daily household. You want to put the screens on your windows, screen on your doors, and even when you're building your homes now, you want to factor that in, because it's so important. You want to keep flies out. You want to keep mosquitoes out. You want to keep insects and roaches and the things that are unwanted out of your homes, right? Another factor that is very important is the animals that you have in your house. Some of you keep dogs in your homes. You keep rabbits in your homes. You keep turtles in your homes. All of these animals and reptiles, and so they bring things with them. As a matter of fact, in America right now, they're advising people to get the turtles out of their homes and to be careful with how they handle the turtles because of salmonella. Okay. Now, we don't know what the linkage is there, but we also get salmonella in our country, right? So there's so many things. I know that animals belong outside. Animals don't belong in the same house where you live because they come with things. They come with fleas, they come with ticks, they bring their own worms, they bring all the animals become more important than our children. The animals become more important than our children. You see, so I don't know how much to advise you, how much more advise you on taking those measures to protect yourselves from the onslaught of what the animals bring, right? The other thing that you want to do is with your children is to prepare healthy snacks for them to carry to school. You want to make sure that before they leave the house, as much as possible, that they have something in their systems that can at least take them towards the lunch hour. If they don't come home for lunch, which most times they don't, then you want to prepare healthy snacks in their lunch kits so that they can have healthy foods to eat while they're at school. I don't know how much to emphasize that. I just if you if you if you don't give the children foods to eat that can help them to be awake, to nutrify them, how do you expect them to get good grades? How do you expect them to stay alert and awake in classroom? How do you expect them to be able to bring the results that you would like them to bring? So you've got to think through the whole process. It's not just about them sitting in the classroom. It's about them getting the nourishment that they need, protecting them from all the onslaughts of viruses and bacteria and insects and all that. And then the other thing that you want to do is to spend some time with the children. Spend some time with them, ensuring that they're learning what they go to school to learn. Don't just depend on the teachers. Too many of us depend on the teachers, and the teachers are there to provide as much information as possible so that the children can become good citizens, basically, so they can have a future, right? I really want to encourage parents and guardians to number one, don't molest their children. They're infants, they're babies, they're they're living humans who need an opportunity to contribute to um, whatever purpose they're there to serve. You know, uh, don't hurt them. If you have to spank them or scold them, then you need to do it, but just do it with care and love. Okay, let them understand why you're doing it. Just don't whip them like if they're slaves or whatever, right? We know they shouldn't have been doing that to slaves. Okay. Um, you also want to help them to find their life's purpose. Okay, this is very important because most of our children skate through life without knowing why they're here. Okay, you need to find the purpose that these children are to serve, and you need to help them to find it. That means that you need to pay attention to them. Pay attention to them. If wherever their strengths are, you try to see if you can guide them down those lines to see if that is what they need to be doing. Many of the parents don't even focus on the children. They don't focus on the children. And it's a very sad thing because if you don't focus on the children, then you're not going to be able to recognize their strengths, their weaknesses, their life's purpose. One that came with a purpose. Everyone. I don't care what they came with a purpose in life. They came with a mission. They are on a mission. and you need to help them to find that mission. You need to help them as parents and guardians and teachers and pastors and neighbors to recognize their strengths and guide them along those lines instead of allowing them to become victims of circumstances. Let me tell you something. Much of the time, when you find uh, young men and women committing crimes, when you find young men and women at the street corner, when you find them drinking and smoking early, when you find them gambling, when you find them stealing, you know, it's because they have not been placed on the path that they're here to follow. I'm telling you, if they're here to follow the path as they're supposed to follow, then they wouldn't have time for any of those things. You know, we've been reading and seeing and hearing a lot about young people being murdered, young people committing suicide, young people just destroying their lives. Okay, I've always said this and I say it again. If you don't have a reason to want to live, you're certainly going to have a reason to want to die. That's reality. If you don't have a reason to want to live, then for sure you're going to have a reason to want to die. You're going to have a reason to want to commit a crime. You're going to have a reason to want to do the wrong things. Try and find the purpose that you're here to follow. And if you're on the right path, you will know it. You know when you're on the right path. There'll be no time to be thinking about suicide. There'll be no time to be thinking about alcoholism. There'll be no time to think about blasting this and blaming your systems with loud noises. You know, I think what has gone wrong in our society is that we've lost our way in many ways. In many ways, we have lost our way. And we have not only lost our way as parents, we've lost our way as guardians, we've lost our way as teachers, as preachers, as people who should be guiding um, and bringing on and passing on the right information to the siblings that are coming along, to the generations that are coming up. We have lost our way as adults. We have not been able to ourselves find the reason why we are here. Many of you, if I ask you the question, many of you adults, and I'm serious about this, if I ask you the question, do you know why you're here? You'll be you'll be lost. And I'm asking you the question now. Do you know the reason why you're here? You need to somehow realize what is your purpose in life. Many of you are couch potatoes at home. Many of you are just following the following people, just following. You're not you're not leading, you're not thinking, you're not structured to know or to do what you're here to do. Many of you are lost, you know. We have we have we have parents, mothers and fathers who go to bed at night, wake up in the morning, does nothing all day but laugh and spend time on the phone and some gamble and walk the streets and some even beg. Some beg, borrow, and steal. We have that happening, and it's happening not because they can't do better, but because they've lost their way. Many of our mothers and depending on our children, on their children to provide for them, and they're at the age where they can provide for themselves. If your child, if your youth, if your son or daughter have to be struggling to provide for you, and you're at an age where you can work, how do you expect them to have a life of their own? How do you expect them to be able to focus on what they need to do as young uh, boys and girls or youths to, to, to find their path when they have to be busy looking after you because you don't want to do anything? If you're sick, if you're unable to function, I can understand that. If you're disabled for some reason, I can understand that. But when you have energy and you have life and you have strength and you have the ability to do something, come on, give the children an opportunity to develop the intended. Don't bog them down with your headaches. Don't stress them out with your problems. Because if you do, they may miss their purpose. They may miss their life's purpose. And then they'll end up just like you. You know, this is serious. This is a topic that I really want to expound on quite a bit, but it has to be done in a situation where I have some people who can talk with me because it's a serious, huge problem. It's a huge problem. I remember when I was growing up that my parents were busy until they died. They were busy not only doing things to ensure that we are able to understand why we're here. They were busy showing us an example. They were leading the way. Many of you parents have lost your way. You're not leading the way so your children can follow. What is it that you can pass on to the children as parents that they can say, my mother or my father taught me this or taught me that? Think about it. Think about it. I have a million things I could tell you my mother and father taught me. How many things you can say you have passed on to your children that they will say, my mother and father taught me this. You know, you yourself have lost your way a long time ago. And now you're in a position where you're confused. Let me tell you something. When you lost your way, you're confused. Think about it. When you're going someplace or you're trying to get to someplace and you lost your way and you don't know where you're going, you're confused. Many of you are confused. You're confused because you have lost your way. And what you're doing is guiding the children along the same way that you have come. The children have to be really strong. They have to be really committed to trying to find out or to find someone who can guide them so that they can find their purpose in life because you as a parent lost your way. You know, it's a serious thing. It's a serious problem. And then as you age and you get older, it becomes worse because now you cannot provide for yourself. You're pressuring the children. You're trying to get them to do things for you that you should have done for yourself. Don't become a victim of that. And if you are, there might still be time for you to try and find your way. You may not find the whole way, but it's not too late to get on the path. It's not too late. And if you think it's too late to get on the path, help the children to get on their path. You know, many of you, I've traveled quite a bit, quite a bit, and every time I go someplace, I pay keen attention to the adults, to the elderly, particularly. I have seen people up to yesterday in their 70s and 80s that are still driving and working on a job in their 70s and 80s. I'm not kidding you. I asked the man yesterday. I saw him and he just came out the store I was in. And this is not in Guyana, of course. And I couldn't help. So I turned around and I said, excuse me, sir. Do you mind if I ask you a question? He says, no, 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 no. No, go right ahead. I said, how old are you? What is your age? He said, I'm 79. I said, you're 79? I know you look kind of elderly. He said, yes, I'm 79. And then he went on to say, no, I said, you're 79 and driving. He said, yes, I'm driving. And as a matter of fact, only 2 days ago, the cops pulled me over and tried to give me a speeding ticket. I said, you kidding? He said, no, no, the cops pulled me over and was going to give me a speeding ticket until they asked my age. When I told them I was 79, they looked at me and says, you know what? Slow down and carry on. Slow down, carry on. Then he said to me, I used to be a race car driver, you know. I said, how much were you doing when the cop pulled you over? I was going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. That's what he said. I was going 20 miles an hour over the speed limit. He says, no wonder, no wonder, because you're a race car driver, 79 years old. We have people in the late 50s and 60s and 70s who is sitting on their butts doing nothing, nothing, just waiting to die, I would imagine. And you've missed and lost your way all your life because you never really found your life's purpose. Don't deny your children the ability to find why they're here. Don't bog them down with your problems. Don't. I see it, I hear it, I feel it for some of the children. We've got children that are as young as 10 and 7 whose mother does not even spend time with them. I know some personally. Father gone to work, mother gone to work, but she ain't working away. The children got to come home and prepare food for themselves at 7 and 10. They got to cook food for themselves. Can you imagine that? Can you see the irresponsible behavior? That is the reason why when we hear about these fires and houses burned down, we wonder why. It's because the parents themselves have lost their way and have not taken up the mantle to be responsible for the children. Sometimes I think we need to investigate the homes when the time is for school has passed. We need to get people to go knocking on those doors to see if the children are in class, parents have done their duty, or if they sit on idle home doing nothing. Seriously, it's a very, very big problem in our society. And as a result of that, as a result of that, we've got children who are becoming derelicts in school. They're not able to achieve the objectives, to educate themselves, to be able to move on. They're not able to understand the basic things. They're not able to get the basic tools that are required to take them down the path that they need to go because they gotta come home and cook and clean and take care of themselves. You know, how can a 7 and a 10-year-old take care of themselves at home in a house? How could they do that? I know some personally, and I said it the other day that I wished that I could start an orphanage or something and have some of the retired persons or the people who are capable that are of an elderly age to come out there and take care of these children. And some of these children are very, very talented, very brilliant, very good at sports. I know some personally, but they're suffering because of the lack of interest of the parents. And then we wonder why we have so much crime, why we have so many people just walking the streets doing nothing, why we have so many people in the bars just drinking liquor and smoking, why we have so many people who are lost. We have that because they've been lost a long time ago. I think that the government needs to start a program that gets into the houses, gets into the households to ensure that the parents are being responsible. And if they're not, then you make them liable because it's dereliction of responsibility. Dereliction of responsibility. And the children suffer all the way through adulthood because they miss their ability to be able to do what is necessary to take them through life. It's a serious problem. And then there are the parties and the noise and the liquor stores. And I've never seen so many liquor stores in my life. I've never seen so many churches in my life. We have all these churches, and yet still we have all that crime. We have all these churches, and yet still we have irresponsible parents. What's going on? I think the pastors also have lost their causes. They're not doing the work. They're not the shepherds that should be taking care of the flock. I'm serious. I'm not saying all of them are, but many of them have not realized that their purpose is missed. You should be driving these things home in the minds of in the brains of the parents. What have you done today for your child? What have you done positive for your child today? What have you done positive for your own self? And then you wonder why the suicide rate is so high. You wonder why the crime rate is so high. You wonder why we have so much noise in the streets. Why so many people are in these cars blaring noises, disturbing neighbors and people in their homes. It's because the brain is empty. It's a serious problem. And unless we arrest it, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because it's being passed on from generation to generation. Only those that are strong enough, the children, only those that are strong enough are going to be able to battle their way and find what they need to find to get where they need to go. Yes, if I'm blasting the parents today, I am because you are responsible for a lot of what's happening today in our society. Some of you don't even clean your houses. Some of you don't even take a shower, maybe for days. Some of you don't even sweep your yards. You don't even get your grass cuts. You don't even paint your homes. You don't even maintain nothing. You don't even clean the steps you walk on. Some of you have become totally irresponsible a long time ago. Some of you don't even cook. Some of you don't even know how to cook. You didn't learn to cook. In my days, growing up, guess what? I had a home that had at least 11 or 12 of us in a home. And guess what? Many a days, my sisters and brothers were cooking because they were taught by my parents how to cook. Even if it was mashed potato and stew, even if it was sardine and rice, even if it was corned beef and chow mein. Yes, my parents taught us to cook at a very young age. They taught us to clean. They made sure we did our homework. You wonder why we are where we are today? It's because our parents spent enough time ensuring that we found what we need, the tools that we needed to help us to go through life. Have you done that for your children? Are you doing that for your children? It's a serious time. You cannot depend on the government to do everything for you. You can't. The government is not your parent. You complain about the government this and the government that, and every government go in, you find a different complaint for that government. You cannot sit and depend on the government to do everything for you. I don't care who the government is. I'm not saying that things don't happen in the government that should not happen. I'm not saying that, but you cannot become a dependent of the government. Government didn't make you. Government is not to feed you. Government is to provide the necessary tools that you need for certain things, like a school, the teachers, the benches for you to sit on. Government is to provide electricity, roads. Government is to provide facilities to give you water so you can bathe and bathe your children. Government is not there to feed you the groceries you need to cook the foods you need to cook. Many of you depend on the government for everything. You should not. You should make the government proud that you're doing the things without them. I'm not saying that we have situations there that don't need to be corrected or fixed or streamlined better. Too many of us depend on the wrong people to get us where we need to go. Why? Because we've lost our way ourselves. So we've become lazy and dependent on somebody else to help us through life. It's a serious problem. And it happens at every level. You wonder why you're poor? Don't blame the government. It's a choice most of the time. You wonder why you can't have things in your cupboards? Don't blame the government. If you had paid attention when you were growing up, when you were younger, and focused on trying to find your way, trying to find the reason why you're here, everybody's here for a reason. You might have been providing food for others who are unable to provide for themselves. So, my friends, today's topic may not please some of you, but it's the reality. Get serious, get busy, try and at least find your way, find your way back, find out why you are here, find out why, help your children to find out why they're here. Spend time with them in the afternoons when they come home. You may not be able to help them with their homework, but at least make sure that they learn, they're reading, they're doing things besides watching television and playing games. You're watching television, watch the right programs on television. You're playing games, play games that are going to help you to learn things. Stop watching the movies. Maybe make it a weekend project. Stop playing with your phone all day. Use it for the right reason. Get back into gardening. Plant food. Plant so that you can provide. If you don't know how to plant, you got telephones, you got computers, you got tablets. Go on Google. How do I plant? How do I plant Balanji? How do I plant Bora? How do I plant this, that, whatever? How do I plant Callaloo? How do I make bread? How do I cook rice? How do I boil an egg? Some of you can't even boil an egg. Get serious, my friends. Every day that you do nothing is another day that's gone by. Today is already 24th of August, 2023. The next time school closes, Christmas, you know. 1 year would have passed and you did nothing for yourselves, nothing for your children. You would have achieved nothing, most of you. I want to spend some time talking about some other things, but not today. But if I mash your toe, I'm sorry, it needed mashing because you might be guilty of some of what I'm talking about. And you need to come out of the guilt by getting out of who you are. You wonder why some people living how they're living? Don't wonder. Take a look in the mirror. Why not you? Or why you? School opens very soon. The children need uniform. The government have to provide money for you to buy uniform for your children. We didn't have that when I was growing up. No, we had two uniforms, not one. And we had to wear it and wear it. One shoe to last us the whole school term. You wear it and you wear it. So, my friends, it's time for me to leave you. But let me leave you with these words. As you do nothing, time goes. As time goes, you're aging. And as you age, you become more dependent. Okay? Protect yourselves, protect your children. Let them wear a mask and you do the same. Take your immune system and build it. Detoxify and deworm. Remember when your parents used to warm you out? Deworm the children, detoxify them, build their immune system, give them a mask and teach them how to wear it properly. And if you're sitting on the couch doing nothing, it's time to get busy. And don't deny the children of their reasons why they're here. Help them to find it. Dr. Ain saying good night. God bless you. So long.
Looking for a place for the whole family? Come down to the Toucan Mall in Amelia's Ward, Linden. It's the mall that has it all. We have great food, a relaxing atmosphere, and activities for all ages. Tennis, swimming, and a playground. But the fun doesn't stop after dark. There's even a bar and an arcade. And if you aren't ready to go home yet, we've even got a spacious room for your comfort, complete with air conditioning, Wi-Fi, and a private bathroom. The Toucan Mall can also facilitate your event in our spacious conference hall. We also have a theater with films for the entire family. It's the Toucan Mall located in Amelia's Ward, Linden.